Okay, let's begin the proceedings tonight. This has been a terrific year for my first guest. She was one of the stars of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, also Dreamscape, and a movie that I've seen. Actually, I've seen Indiana Jones as well, called Windy City. That was the most recently released of these films. Could this be confusing any other way? Let me just start over. This has been a big year for my first guest. She was one of the stars of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, also in the fine film Dreamscape, and a movie that I've seen, parenthetically, called Windy City. Please welcome Kate Capshaw.
Hi, Kate, how are you? So nice to see you. How are you?
Good. You look good. Yeah, you know what I noticed about you? You have a really firm, strong handshake, and I think that's, I don't know, but that's good. Don't you think that's good?
Yes, well, my father taught me that.
Well, I think that's important. I think that makes a very good impression. Yes. Not that you yourself don't make a good impression anyway, but you know what I'm saying?
Yours was...
Was what?
Was good.
It was all right, wasn't it?
It was good.
Yeah, you don't want to come out here.
I don't remember it, actually.
You don't remember?
No,
well,
just then.
It's not
no.
important. But nice to have you here. Now, you were supposed to be here once before, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Yeah. Now, are you all right?
Yes, I am.
You're comfortable?
You know,
are you happy to be here? Are you
happy to be here? Can we talk about comfort for 1 second?
Sure.
Just for a second.
Be happy to.
I came to do Live at 5 about 4 months ago for
It's a show
Indiana
right
Jones.
across the hall
Yes,
here,
right across the hall.
on Channel 4 in New York City.
And after it was over, this was empty in here, and I asked if I could come
Our
in.
studio was empty.
And sit in your chair.
Yeah. You're not allowed to do that, by the way.
Well, I got in.
You got in?
Yes. I said, would it be okay with David if I just sat down?
Well, the answer is no.
Okay. Well, I did it.
For future reference, don't be pulling this again.
All right.
Okay.
So I came in and I sat in your chair and I thought, well, this feels good. I can see the audience and I can see all the guests. And then I came around here and I pretended like I was on your show.
Mm-hmm. As if you were a guest?
Yes.
Yeah.
Although, I wasn't, and I wasn't going to be. So, more about that later. And so I came and I sat in this chair, and I thought, this is nice. I can see the audience, and I can see this person. And then, when I started looking at you, I realized that I had to turn all the way around and sort of lean back like this to see you.
You know,
it's a little uncomfortable.
Let me interrupt you there. This is a complaint. We've been on the air 2.5 years. This is a complaint we've heard. Seriously, we hear it frequently, and we're sick of it. But it's been explained to me that there's a reason to have the chair like that, and I know it's a little awkward.
What's
but then
the
again,
reason?
well, I don't know. You want to find out what the reason is, seriously?
Yeah.
Hal?
Hal?
Yes, Dave.
We have a question regarding the positioning of the guest chair again.
Yeah.
Now I get ejected.
What is the reason for the way it's positioned?
I don't know.
Well, there you go. See, we'll have to have a meeting now and get back to you on this whole thing. But it's not so bad now, is it?
No, it's not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now you said you weren't going to be a guest on this show. You act like you were sort of auditioning us to see if the show was all right for you to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously it turned out
to... This is a letter. That's my handwriting.
That's
I
right.
wrote you a letter once.
We have a little note here. We have a little...
but we don't need to read it.
All right, we don't have to read.
Well.
So now you've been here. You've been in this building several times. Once in the studio without us, and then once you left me a little note, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Now, wait a minute. Let me just read she's got a list here of itemized things. Dear Mr. Letterman, very nice, cordial little note.
No, dear David Letterman.
Dear David Letterman. Okay, that's even better. And then in the letter here, you mentioned your brother. Your brother David telling you about possibly being a guest on this show.
Well, see, I told my brother, I said, David, should I be on the David Letterman show? And he said, what, are you kidding? Yes, it's the greatest show.
There
You
you
know,
go.
he's #1 fan.
Sure.
So
Very
I
nice of him.
only talked to my brother about twice a year, and it's not because we don't like each other, but we just don't
Sure.
talk to each other.
Yeah.
So, but he proceeded.
Well, that is a little odd, come to think of it, that your own brother, you only talk to him maybe once or twice a
I
year.
know. The
Yeah.
whole family's upset about it.
Really?
But it's better now because of you. Because after he found out, no, truly, after he found out that I was going to be on the show, he proceeded to call me every day with tips about being on your show.
Now, here's tip number 1 from your brother. It says, don't cancel. He hates it when folks cancel and says he's sick of being treated like a dentist. That's true. Okay. I'll tell you what, we'll do a commercial and then we'll come back and talk more about this, or anything else you want to.
Okay.
All right. Kate Capshaw is here, and we're happy to have you here. And is there anything else that we need to know about this? To make a long story short, you decided to be a guest on the show?
Yes,
And is it going all right so far?
it is.
All right, good. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Certainly an attractive young lady, and I thought you were very good in what do you call it? Indiana Jones and the Temple of
That
Doom.
adventure movie.
Yeah. Did you get to ride in the little coal or the
Yes.
mine car?
Yes.
Now that looked like it might have been exciting.
It wasn't. It was they literally made like a roller coaster inside this very large set, and it moved like a roller coaster, but it moved slower, and it didn't look as high. I mean, it looked much higher than it was and all that. So it was about this big inside. So there was Harrison, who's a big fellow,
Right.
and myself, who sort of petite. No,
Petite?
but
How tall a person are you?
5'7".
Oh, that's
Almost.
That's not really petite, but I mean,
No, yeah.
I guess compared to Harrison Ford, you're
Right.
a
And
little-
then the little boy.
yeah.
The little boy.
Yeah. Did you read a script for that movie before you took the part?
Yes, I did.
Could you, from the script, could you get any mental picture of what the finished product was going to look like?
No, not at all, because so much of this, because there's not a lot of dialogue, there's just a lot of action, and it's hard to read action scenes because
Yeah.
it's just like stick figures moving around. You can't imagine what it's going to be
Yeah,
like.
yeah. Anyway, it turned out terrific for you.
Thanks.
Now, what was your reaction? So the movie comes out and it's a huge hit and so forth, and you're reading critics talk about the film. You're watching them on television talk about the film, and does that faze you? Does it bother you? Did it make you happy? Just pick an area there.
I think mostly it made me happy because people loved the movie,
Yeah.
and a lot of critics said some nice things, but some critics didn't say some nice things. And there was one incident where there are a couple critics who do a show where they battle one another
Oh, sure.
with their opinions.
Siskel and Ebert.
Thank you.
They're funny.
Yes,
They're
very
enjoyable
funny.
to watch.
And so we already knew, because we'd read the newspapers, that these two men didn't like me. I mean, they had problems with the movie, but they also particularly didn't like me.
Well, see, I don't see how that could be possible.
Well,
How could they not like you in that movie?
I
mean,
know.
that's what you were supposed to be, wasn't it? Just what you were in the movie.
yes, exactly. Well,
Who do those guys
I
think
don't
they
know.
are?
Well, what are we going to do about this, David?
Well, they're very nice men. Have you met the guys?
No.
They're very nice men, and they were probably, who knows, drunk at the time? I don't even know what I'm talking about. Okay, so these guys, for some reason, didn't like the character or the part or whatever.
Well, they didn't like the Willie Scott and all that, and I played Willie, so I took it personally. Anyway, we were sitting. It was a Sunday, whatever day they do their show, and my boyfriend is watching the television. I walk in the room, and he looks at me like he's been caught with his hand in the cookie jar, and I said, "What's the matter?" And he says, "Well, I'm just watching a little TV. Weren't you going to read the paper?" And I said, "No." I said, "What's on?" And he said, "It's Siskel and Ebert." And I said, "I should look at this."
Yeah.
And then my daughter walks in the room, and he looks at me and says, "Get her out of here. I don't want her to see this." And I looked at Jessica, and I said, "Why don't we sit down and as a family watch this?"
Oh, Lord, this sounds just terribly traumatic already.
It was, but I thought as a
Call
family.
your clergyman, have him come over. The neighbors bring in a covered dish.
Right.
Good Lord. All right, so you're all strapped in.
We're gluttons for
Yeah,
punishment.
and
so
what
we're
happens?
all strapped in, arm in arm, and we're watching the TV. And Roger went first, and he's
Now, is he the taller guy or the?
he's the fellow who wears the glasses.
Roger's the shorter of the two, isn't he? The shorter,
Yes.
heavier set gentleman. All right,
Yes.
okay.
And so he sort of liked the movie, and he went on about 5 minutes, and we kept thinking, this is good, he's not going to mention me, this is good, and he didn't mention me. And he sort of gave the movie, you know, a C+. Then Gene had his turn, and he started talking, and he got through the whole thing. It was like 4 minutes into his 5 minutes, and we're all sitting there with our breaths held, and we went, they're not going to do it on national network television. And then he said, but Roger, you have to agree with me that the worst thing in the movie was this girl, Kate Capshaw.
Oh.
And we all went, Then, the slowest TV pan in history, they moved from Gene over to Roger, and we're sitting there going, come on, Roger, you can do it now. And Roger goes, well, Gene, you've got me there.
Ooh. So what do? You lose the will to live, don't you? Pretty much. What can you do? Yeah, that's ugly. That's ugly.
It's an ugly time.
Yeah. Geez, you're a terrific woman. It's a pleasure to meet you. Let me see. What are we talking about? You have a movie coming out, or the one that's already out, isn't it?
Right, Windy City.
Windy City, and anything after that you want to mention?
No.
Okay. Well, geez, that's enough. I mean, what do you want? Kate, thank you very much.
We call. Don't you call people sometimes?
We call sometimes people, yeah.
Let's call somebody.
Who would you... I'd love to call somebody. I think that we may be just about out of time here. We are out of time. But if you'll come back another time, we'll call somebody.
Okay.
All right. Nice meeting you, Kate.
Nice
Thank you
meeting
for
you.
being there.
Thank you.
Good handshake. Welcome back. Stage night invitation. John K.